So if you just figure out what you need to do and you put a few disciplines and a few habits in place and you do them for 90 straight days. Now here's the caveat. Here's the catch. Everybody's like, what's the catch? If you miss a day, you got to go back to day one.
Are you looking for true personal freedom? The freedom to design a life you truly desire? Then you're absolutely in the right place. True personal freedom comes from when you take 100% responsibility and control of your money and your mind. Here you're going to learn ideas, tips, and wisdom that's going to help you bridge the gap from where you are now to your dream life in the future. My name is Randy Wilson, and welcome to the RichMind Podcast. All right, everyone. Welcome back to the RichMind Podcast. And today, coming back to you again with another guest host. I've got Chad Kneller. He keeps coming back. He's loving this. He's having fun. Or we're both having fun, right? We were just before we hit record. When you have a collaboration with somebody, right? It's kind of a give and take with the conversations, and it's just a lot of fun. I've always felt like I've had pretty good knowledge in terms of personal development, key terms, key things, right? But he's got a way of putting a spin on it that absolutely, it blows my mind. So if you hear me laughing, folks, it's because I'm hearing something for the first time, and hopefully maybe it'll make you laugh as well. So today, coming back with Chad Kneller, we're going to dive into another topic that I think is going to be super powerful. The last one was really good, and I think this one's going to be great as well. We're going to talk about 90-day runs and building momentum and how that can impact your life in such a positive way. You've had experience with doing that multiple times. And so, yeah, I'm really curious to hear what your take is on how to build momentum through your 90-day run. So, Chad, welcome back to the show, man.
Man, thanks so much. I'm so happy to be here. And this is one of my favorite subjects because if someone takes what we talk about today and they actually do it, it's going to create so many benefits in their life. It's going to give someone so much confidence, and it's going to lead them to a place in life they've probably never done or been. And once you've done this, and once you've taken these philosophies that we're going to go over right now, and you've applied them, like the sky literally becomes the limit, And so what we're talking about today is creating massive, major momentum. Now, everybody wants massive, if you start losing weight, would you rather lose weight slow or you want to lose the weight fast? I mean, people mostly would rather lose weight fast. You don't want to lose a pound like every 3 months. You want to lose a pound like every 3 days, right? And so we're going to talk about how in 90 days. Now, first, what I know is anybody can do something if it's worth it for 90 straight days. It's not, think about the moms, Randy. How long does it take to make a baby? I mean, that's about 9-10 months, right? So all you moms out there, if you can do it for 9-10 months, I promise you 90 days is gonna be a lot easier. So if you just figure out what you need to do and you put a few disciplines and a few habits in place and you do them for 90 straight days. Now here's the caveat, here's the catch. Everybody's like, what's the catch? If you miss a day, you gotta go back to day one. And I'm in the middle of a thing right now, Randy, called 75 Hard. I'm on day 22. And if I miss a day, there's about 8-9 things I gotta do every day. And if I miss a day, I got to go back to day one, and I haven't missed a day yet with anything. And there's been a few days where I didn't want to do it. Like the other day, my kids had some pizza and there's a couple pieces laying there on the counter. And I was like, oh, I want that pizza. But one of my things is no cheat meals. And no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't think of a way to figure out where that wouldn't be cheating because it was pizza. So 90 days. And here's what Dave Ramsey would say about momentum. He would say, focused intensity over time multiplied by God equals unstoppable momentum. So that's the formula. That's the predictable outcome. Now, focused intensity. Now, I want you to think about this. When I think of focused intensity, I think of like a heat-seeking missile. I mean, you guys have seen the movies, right? Where they launch the heat-seeking missile. Like it's squirreling through the air. It's going after the thing, and it's going to get the thing, right? I mean, unless you have one of those airplanes and you shoot something else out and block it and it explodes in the air, right? It's white hot, laser focused, heat seeking missile. So that's why that's why you have to build up some reasons in the bank. You got to have all those things and make it very, 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 very important to get through the 90 days. Otherwise you'll fizzle out, you'll fizzle out like maybe week 2, week 3. And that's the biggest problem is most people don't do it every day for 90 days because the ones that do it every day for 90 days come out the other end like smelling like roses. Like Randy, when I was getting ready to get out of the military, I knew I was getting out of the military. I knew I had to transition out of the military. So I wanted to put together a 90-day run. And my wife and I had gotten involved in a network marketing business. We were making about $2,000 when I was in the military. And we decided to take it very, very seriously. And so we went actually 101 days. And at the end of the 101 days, we had a $44,000 month.
Wow.
So from 2,000 to like 9,000 to over 20,000 to over 40,000. That's how fast, and that's how this applied, right? When I was in the military, I somehow got to be in charge of all the people that were about to get kicked out of the military because they were overweight and they couldn't pass what we call a PT test, which is a physical training test, right? You only needed a 180 score to pass the PT test. Now, a perfect score is 300 because there's 3 events, 100 points each event. By the end of that 90 days, we had about 5-6 people that went from less than 180 to over a 300 PT score. So think about what had to happen for them. Now we had a lot of fun. I told them, if I see you in the commissary, which is like the grocery store, I was like, if I see you anywhere but the outer aisle, because the healthy food's on the outer aisles. Here's a free tip for everybody here. You're in the grocery store, Kroger, Heb, whatever. If you stick to the outside the aisles, the outside of the store, you're sticking to the healthy stuff. You start going to the inside, that's where all the Cheez-Its and the goldfish and the crackers and, all that kind of stuff, and the potato chips, right? They don't keep those on the outside. The outside is where the produce is. It's where the protein is. It's where the veggies are, the fruit, all the things that obviously are good for you. So, we had some fun. I'd see someone in the middle aisle and I'd be like, come on. And they'd have to drop and give me push-ups in the middle of the store, because that was our agreement before we went in in front of their wives and kids and everything. It was fun. It's fun if you're me, right? It wasn't fun if they're them. But we had a good time, doing all this kind of stuff. But 90 days. And so when you're going to do a 90-day run, because you want to have that major momentum, you just have to pick, those 5 or 6 things, right? Now again, with 75 hard, I'm doing like 8. I got to work out twice a day for 45 minutes. One's inside, one's outside. It's been like 105, 107 here in Texas. So I'm trying to knock that out early so I don't burn up in the fire outside. So you're doing a couple things. I got to drink a gallon of water every day. So I'm waking up at 3 or 4 in the morning and I got to go to the bathroom, but I do it anyway because it's one of the things, right? I'm trusting the process. See, when you're going to do a 90-day run, you have to trust the process. Let's share real quick about popcorn. So if you're making popcorn, let's say, I don't know exactly how long it takes, but let's say it takes 90 seconds. Okay. So let's say when you push the popcorn button on your microwave, it takes 90 seconds. Now you and I know 30 seconds, nothing. 60 seconds, nothing. 80 seconds, nothing. About 90 seconds, pop. And then pop. And then pop, 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 pop. That's what momentum looks like, right? And what's cool is even after the popcorn is popping like crazy, if you open the microwave, guess what keeps going? It keeps popping. It keeps popping. It's like, it takes most of the energy for an airplane to get to cruising altitude. And now once it takes a lot of the fuel, it takes a lot of the energy to climb and get up to cruising altitude. And when you're at cruising altitude, you can do what? It's called coasting, right? So in a business, you can literally do a 90-day run. You can hit it hard for 90 days, and then you can coast for months sometimes off the effort that you put in on 90 days. Now we call that work hard, play hard. Work hard, play hard, give back, right? So let's say you did a couple 90-day runs. Let's say you do a 90-day run, and then 60 or 90 days later, you do another 90-day run. You can get a solid year and a half of results out of 2 90-day runs, which is only 6 months, right? But here's the thing. You have to be all in, pedal to the metal, all out. That's how you make it happen. So, in the business that I'm familiar with, and I've done this a few different times, in the business of network marketing, it's absolutely instrumental here because you want to get that momentum going. Because just like with popcorn, if you go 7-10 days and you take a day or 2 off, you lose momentum. Now, why would you ever, if your goal is to have unstoppable momentum, why would you do anything to lose momentum? Like it's called self-sabotage, right? Because you have to, it's the little gain. You're advancing your territory. You're gaining ground little by little by little. You might not even see anything. Nothing might have happened week 1, week 2, barely anything, week 3. But then all that effort and all that sowing and all that harvest, you start to see the results and the results stack and stack, and you build momentum, and you build momentum in one area of your life, it starts to bleed over in the other area of your life. And next thing you know, you're like, oh my gosh, look at what just happened in just 90 days. So Randy, I want to dive into this as much as you want. So what are some thoughts that you have, about like what that would look like or anything about that?
So the hardest part, and this is my personal experience, is that not seeing results for up till, you put a time frame on it, up till the last 10% maybe, or 20% of the time frame, and staying committed to the process, because it requires faith of the outcome. Even though you can't see the outcome, you have to have, we talked in the last episode about modeling. How important is it to model after someone who has achieved that level? Was that hard for you when you started it? You mentioned the 2,000 a month, and within 101 days, I believe you said, you made it up to 44,000 a month. I would assume that when you started at the 2,000, you didn't have necessarily an idea. You had a goal to get to that 40,000, but the steps to get there, right? So the incremental modeling, I would assume, was very impactful for you, I would assume.
Oh, absolutely. And it's trusting, it's called trusting the process, right? I had, by that point in my network marketing career, I'd run across enough people and I met enough people who would say 90 days, 90 days, 90 days, 90 days. And I'd never done 90 days. I'd started 90 days, but I'd never actually done the 90 days. So first of all, I was like, well, I've never really tried this, like really gave it my all, right? So let me, and by then I'd seen what 90 days can, like you and I know, if we want to lose 20 pounds, like you can lose a few pounds the first week, but then you can easily gain it all back the second week, right? So it takes some change. And if you want to have what you've never had, you got to do what you've never done. It just boils down to, it's really simple philosophy. You got to make some changes. That's that idea that if I'll change, then everything can change for me. If I don't change, then nothing's really going to change. The definition of an insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over and expecting a different result. That doesn't work. What works is going all out for 90 days and doing the fundamentals, the basics, day in and day out. So like for us, what that looked like with my wife and I is we said, okay, the core of what we're going to do every day is we are going to talk to 3 to 5 new people on the phone each and every day that we've never talked to. Now, some of those were like personal people that we've met, and some of those were through team. Team met somebody and they had somebody that was on a call and ready to talk. And so, and you had to keep in mind too, that if I had 12 on the calendar, new people I was going to talk to, then I was probably going to get 4 or 5 out of that 12 because people are going to cancel, they're going to forget, all these kinds of things are going to happen. But you want to build those processes within your 90 days. And again, the key is this, honestly, it's real simple. At the end of the day, you look in the mirror and you say, Did I have a good day? Did I do all the things today that I know I should have done? And I love this 75 hard. I have an app, and you can make an app for yourself. It can be a to-do list with a little checkbox on there. You write it on a piece of paper, put it on the fridge. You check it off at the end of the night, every night. You just say for 90 days, every box is going to get checked. You can make your whole family come. Come on, family, let's go to the fridge. Did mommy do this? Did dad do this? Yes, check it off, check it off, check it off. So part of mine, Randy, and I'll tell you this, it's read 10 pages of a good book. And that's usually the last thing I get done because I get so busy and all this stuff. And sometimes I'm falling asleep. I want to go to bed, but guess what? I didn't. And it's not, it's an apple a day keeps the doctor away. It's not 7 apples on Sunday. So I can't skip my 10 today and do my 10 tomorrow. It doesn't work that way. It's the daily thing. So sometimes it's 11 at night and I'm like pinching myself and get those 10 pages in, but it's instrumental. And here's what I'll tell you. Most people will never be consistent about anything for 90 days. So just by you being consistent about anything for 90 days, you're already setting yourself apart from the masses. And that is if you want to be one of the 10 percenters of life in any area, you basically just do what 90% of the population is not willing to do. And it's very, very simple to separate yourself because it just takes discipline. It takes some simple activities that seem to make no difference in the act of doing them that make all the difference over time because you're getting interest and dividends and you're building that up over that 90 days. So, and then when you get, some people go 90 days and they're like, well, that was easy. I'm going to do another 90 days. And you want to get crazy, just go a whole year in a row. I've never done that because I'm not that crazy. But There are people out there.
There are people out there, and I think we know a few, don't we? For sure.
That's right.
And,
We do.
and just keep going. Yeah, it's an amazing thing to actually watch and to actually see, because they're getting the results. They're actually getting it done, even though we feel like we're doing well. Also, people are just living at a different level even than we are, for sure. So with this episode, let's assume that somebody has already gotten the idea or has the intention of looking at some kind of a network marketing opportunity. And you talked about some of the simple basics. You mentioned about talking to at least 3 to 5 people a day. Can you think back to some, even with whether it's the organization we're involved with today? Because I know each business is a little bit different, but some of those basics, can you give some people some pointers of what are some of the basics that you focused on besides actually speaking to 3 to 5 people?
Absolutely. So I'll give you 3 main concepts here. And I could break it. I could give you like things to do daily, things to do weekly, things to do monthly. Maybe we'll do that on another call. But for today, I just want to drill it down into 3 things. Okay. Number 1 is exposure is everything. In network marketing, now what does that mean? That means that you are educating someone, right? Now there's a difference. Some people get confused. Exposure isn't sending a link to somebody, because all that is some letters and numbers maybe that's in a text, right? That has done nothing, right? That is nothing. Now exposure means when you're exposing someone to the business, it means there's education that's happening. So there's a transition of them going from not knowing to knowing. Okay. So first, that's the goal. Now I love the idea of 2 a day, because I go back to the deck of cards analogy. If you do 2 a day and you take Sundays off, that's 52, right? In a 30-day month, because you would have 2 times 30 is 60. And you take away the 4 Sundays to exposure, so that's 8. So now you're at 52. Okay. So let's say that's your goal, 2 a day. Exposure now. Exposure means, like with the business we're in, we have a link. It has 3 videos, 23 minutes. So if my goal every day is to have 2 people that have never seen these 23 minutes of videos watch these 23 minutes of videos, that means, and I don't do it on Sundays, that means in 30 days, I've had 52 new people get exposed, get educated on the information. Now, just like a deck of cards, you have 4 aces. So let's say those 4 aces, Randy, are those are the 4 people that want to, they're all in. Like they see it, they get it, they want to join as a promoter, they want to get involved, and they want to start sharing, and you're teaching them how to do their 2 now. So then you're 52 with 2 more people. That's another 104. Now you're doing 156 a month from your organization, right? But those 4. Now, the face cards, right? And there's what? There's a Jack, Queen, King, right? So there's 3 times 4, so there's 12. So let's say the face cards are people, they want to be a customer, they want to try the product, they want to sample the product. Great. They are what they are. They're an ace, they're a face card. But then, Randy, here's the challenge for a lot of people. What about all the other people? What about the 2s and the 5s and the 8s? So, professionals sort, amateurs convince. I used to go and I'd show in a training, we'd have like 52 people in the audience, so I'd give everyone a card when they came in, and I'd go and I'd say, are you looking for an opportunity? Yes or no? They flip their card over and it'd be a 3 of hearts. I have a choice, right? Now, if professionals sort and amateurs convince, if I'm an amateur, I'm getting my white out and I'm taking that 3 of hearts and I'm trying to scribble out the 3. And I'm like, I want this to be an ace of spades. It's not an ace of spades, but I want it to be an ace of spades. You're going to be an ace of spades. You're going to get this if it kills me. And the person, meanwhile, is like, I don't have a brain cell for this. I don't want this. My health doesn't matter to me, whatever the case is, right? And so there I'm wasting time. Most people waste so much time on the wrong people trying to convince them, right? Because they have their 5 or 10. They're like, I know you'd be good at this. Randy, you'd be good at this. I'm going to spend all my time and energy on trying to convince you to do something that you've already told me you don't want to do, versus go to the next person, flip their card over, go to the next person, flip their card over. See, a lot of people are trying to bat 100, and you and I know, Randy, if you know anything about sports, like baseball, I mean, you bat 300, you're a multimillionaire. Think about that. Baseball. So you go to play, your favorite player bat, like say 320, right? They're out. They let you down 7 out of 10 times. They're a millionaire. You don't have to bat in business. You don't have to bat 100 or 1,000. Hopefully you bat at least 100. That's 1 out of 10. But you don't have to bat 1,000, because 100, and I love how Jim Rohn put this. He says, if you're really horrible, or if I'm horrible and you're great, we can compete when you look at the law of averages. Because Randy, you might be awesome. You get 9 out of 10. But see, you talk to 10 people and get 9. I can talk to 100 people and get 10. and beat you in a 30-day contest because I'm sorting faster. Because all this is expose. Now, remember what I said, exposure is everything. Now, the fortune is in the follow-up. Why do I say that? Because let's say I'm talking to you, Randy. I'm like, hey, man, I'm going to send you a link. There's 3 videos on there, 23 minutes. Boom. Can you watch them tonight? You say, yes. Okay. And I get in touch with you tonight and you don't answer, right? I message you tomorrow. You don't answer. Now I have a choice, right? What am I going to do? Am I going to keep reaching out to Randy or am I not going to reach out to Randy? Well, fortune is in the follow-up. And unfortunately, sometimes it takes 4 to 6 exposures for someone to say yes. So you have your list of people, your list of people you're really excited about, and you're going to continue to follow up, but you're not going to try and convince. And by following up, all following up is to me is getting someone to do what they already said they would do. So if Randy told me he's going to watch some videos, I'm going to remind him of what he told me for the next 20 years until he does it. Or he blocks me. And yeah, sometimes you get blocked, but guess what? Failure is the fertilizer of success. Mm-hmm. Failure is the fertilizer of success. Meaning, if you want to be successful, I hope you don't think you're not going to experience any failures because it's part of it. The faster you fail, the faster you succeed. Now, a lot of people are out on that because they don't like how failure feels because we're taught when we're young to avoid failure, right? Man, nobody wants to get an F on that test. We want to study. We want to get an A, get an A, get an A. Man, if I got a C, I was in trouble. So growing up, it took me a while to get over that. And I had to figure out and I had to make that shift mentally that it's okay to be told no. It's okay to be, to lose a little social self-esteem on people that don't understand what I'm doing because they don't want to do it. And they're trying to apply what they don't want to do into my life, right? When they don't pay my bills. So their opinion doesn't matter a whole lot, right? So it's important though, but you go back to exposure is everything. And then the fortune is in the follow-up and then work with the willing because then you'll have people that join your business. Jim Rohn does a great thing on this called the parable of the sower. So if you guys are in network marketing, you haven't heard Jim Rohn, you haven't heard parable of the sower, just look it up on YouTube. I mean, he goes through all the things that happen in this industry, right? Where I've had a person one time, they just signed up, they said, I'm going to have 23 people join me in the first week. And I'm like, you go get them, Tiger. I'm like, we're going to call you the Barracuda. You go out there and sign up 23 people your first week. Yeah. I'm like just doing backflip, not really doing backflips, but I'm celebrating. I'm like, they're going to sign up 23 people. Come on, baby. And they don't answer me the next day. And like the third day they quit. And I'm like, well, what happened to them? They're supposed to sign up 23 people. And sometimes you never get to find out, but guess what? This is where Jim Rohn would say, if you're a farmer, you keep plowing, you keep sowing, right? Because when you're sowing your seed, the birds are going to get some. Meaning the bird's going to come take the seed and he's going to fly away. Now I have 2 choices. I can chase the bird and leave the field, or I can keep doing my job, which is sowing. See, we sow the seeds, God grows the trees. And there's no way of knowing who is going to actually be the trees. So we just sow. That's our job. We keep sowing and sowing. So to stay on track, Randy, though, and what I want to get back to is that exposure, because you can totally control. I told people all the time, if I said, hey, today, the next 24 hours, every time you get someone to watch the 23-minute videos, let's say I've got a 10-question questionnaire to verify they watched them, I'm going to give you $1,000 every time you watch a video. I guarantee you would get probably 5 to 10 people every single day, right?
100%.
Everyone.
Is that an offer?
No, because I know you're a go-getter. You'd be like, you owe me 20 grand yesterday.
Yeah, I got to end this call right now, man. I got to go get hold of some people.
Right. But it really is when you're looking at momentum and you're looking at, what it takes. It just takes the fundamentals. And I always keep this John Wooden pyramid of success behind me because John Wooden was like the master of the fundamental. I mean, think about this. If you joined his team, UCLA in the 70s or whatever, he was getting the best high schoolers. So these guys had big egos, right? And he was getting the best high schoolers to come. And he's like, all right, guys, welcome to the team. Today, we're going to teach you how to tie your shoes. He taught the same thing every year. Could you imagine those guys like rolling their eyes like, oh my gosh, I know how to tie my, and he taught them a specific way to tie their shoes. So their shoes wouldn't come untied. Because if they come untied and you trip over your shoe and you lose the ball, I mean, that could lose the game in basketball, right? So it goes back to the fundamentals, which are exposure is everything. the fortunes and the follow-up, and work with the willing. And one other thing I'll add into there that is absolutely instrumental in our industry, and every single top leader ever that I've ever known, and I've known hundreds all throughout the industry, is the power and the magic of a three-way call. Okay. And all that simply means is you have your friends, you have your acquaintances, when you're introducing them to the business and they start having questions, you always want to bring in a third-party expert to answer. Not because you probably don't need it, but it's for their benefit to show them that it really is a team and that they don't have to know anything to be successful. That's the key here, is just plug. The industry that has the most simple system, Randy, and system stands for saving yourself stress, time, energy, and money, which if you know anything about business, that's the best place you can be in any business, because none of us become entrepreneurs because we want to have a 70 or 80 hour week job. We join because we want more freedom. And so with systems, you have systems, you become system dependent. And that way you can back away, and your team and your organization, because of leverage, it can continue to grow, and you can go on vacation for a month and come back and your check actually went up, which just isn't possible in traditional employment.
Which makes this super exciting. If you can build that momentum and stay consistent and work, even if you're not necessarily seeing the results. So let's start to wrap this one up. This has been fantastic. And folks, Chad he's the man, and he'll bring it. And this has been fantastic. But can you just maybe 2 or 3 action steps? Like somebody's like, okay, 90 days. We are coming up towards the end of the year, right? And we talked about, just before we hit record here, we're actually getting to a time frame that if to finish out this calendar year would be a great time to really put on a 90-day sprint to build some momentum going into the following calendar year of 2024. Are there you talked about reaching out, fortunes in the follow-up, right? Somebody's like, okay, Chad, I get it. What do I need to do? Tell me, can you give me 2 or 3 things that they can do to start building some of this 90-day momentum? And then I'm going to stick to this for 90 days. Is there anything specific like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we would call income producing activities, right, in this industry. So like with us, we have a simple website. It's Get Paid in 5 website, right? And so sharing that, and you pick the number. I'm not going to give you the number. You pick the number. The bigger the number is, the more success you're going to have, but you have to pick the number, and you have to decide that number is going to happen, and you're not going to go to bed until it does. And maybe you get that number done by 5, 6 o'clock, and you want to keep going, and maybe you don't get it done until 10 at night. And maybe maybe your number's 3 and you're at 0 at 11 o'clock at night. Now we get to see what you're made of, because are you going to get it in? Are you going to get those 3 in before you go to bed? Or are you going to just say, tomorrow I'll do 6, right? We already said how that works. It's not 7 apples a week, it's an apple a day, right? So that would be, pick that number and share your opportunity with someone, and make sure that they got educated. Now, there's different ways to do that. A lot of other companies have like a phone call that you could, pre-record a phone call they could listen to, or a DVD they can pop in, or a website where they can watch a video. Maybe you get on a Zoom and you watch it with them, right? That's one way to know. Maybe you go to their house and you sit down on their couch and you watch it with them on your phone or on the computer. I mean, there's ways to guarantee to get these exposures in. So that's the first thing, is you just get it done. You just make up your mind right now that you're going to personally, because here's where it gets good. Maybe at first it's all you. Maybe you don't have a team. And so maybe your number's 5, and every day you're sharing with 5, you're sharing with 5, you're sharing, and then you get 1, right? Now with a lot of these businesses, your 5 doesn't have to just be your people. Now maybe you share with 3, but the person that just joined with you, they're getting the information into 2. So you're still getting your 5, because your 5 is happening within the context of your team, right? So you're doing that, and that's new. That's new. Remember what I said in the beginning, 3 to 5 new people on the phone was my wife and I's goal. And we went through that 101 days, and we exploded our income with that goal, 3 to 5, 3 to 5. And when I woke up every day, I would say to myself, 3 to 5, 3 to 5, 3 to 5. That was the foundation of everything that we were doing. And then we were helping our 3 to 5. People have questions. You're helping them with those questions. You're talking to their people. And so doing that, and then making sure when you have someone who's excited, because I guarantee out of the next 10 people that you get to look at your opportunity, you're going to have a couple that are going to be extremely excited. And when someone's extremely excited, you're extremely excited. And then that builds you up, and then you want to do more because you're excited at a whole nother level. That's why it's good. We call it a spark. Sometimes you're just kind of going through the business and someone joins and they're excited and they have a spark. And so when you're working with a spark, you get hot because they're hot, right? And when you get your business on fire, everyone that comes into the core of it, they all get hot because it's the fire. You stay close to the fire, you stay hot. And so that daily activity is the number one thing, income producing activity that I would say, Randy, because there's a lot of things that will try and distract us and pull us off, to the side. And the key though, is you got to get that. So if that's just where you start and you're sharing your opportunity with whatever, some people have flip charts, some people have DVDs, YouTube, most every organization has online, a video or something you can watch, sizzle videos. So with us, we have 3 videos. We want you to watch the 3-minute video, the 17-minute video, and the other 3-minute video. It's 23 minutes tops to get educated on what we're calling the new number one, because I firmly believe it is the best network marketing company that I've personally ever been a part of for many, many reasons. And I share a lot of those on 3-way calls. But you watch the 3 videos and figure it out for yourself. And you watch those 3 videos. If you don't like it, then okay, it's 23 minutes. I mean, you probably spent that watching your favorite show last night. So spend 23 minutes on something that can most definitely change your life. And then from there, we just keep moving forward. But I would say that would be the number one thing, Randy. And when you got that dialed in for 2 weeks, it'll be generating the other things. So you'll have people calling in, they'll have questions, and you always want to use your upline expert for 3-way calling questions. So you get to where you're doing 3-way calls every day. And then you're doing outgoing 3-way calls to your upline. But then as your team grows, you're doing incoming 3-way calls from your team, and you're helping them the same way with that same model of learning, doing it, and then modeling. That's why you put people on 3-way calls, so you can learn. You're learning from your upline, and then they're teaching you how that you can answer the same questions to someone that's going to ask you the next week. There's only maybe 20 questions anyone asks. So once you get them down, you got them down. But you still, even though I've got them all down, I still put people on the call with my upline because it's part of the process. And again, you have to trust the process.
Trust the process, folks. So this has been mind-blowing. This has been fantastic. This is exactly what I was hoping the path you would take us down, Chad. This is exactly what I think will be super valuable. It's been valuable for me. It's valuable for my family. I'm sure to be very valuable for those out there listening that are intrigued by the idea of network marketing, but then maybe also already involved in an organization, whether it's ours or somebody else's, that would be super powerful as well. So, man, I really appreciate you coming on today. This has been a lot of fun. I look forward to diving in again. So, folks, if any of this is intriguing at all to you, Chad and I have mentioned multiple times in this episode and other episodes that we're involved in an organization that it's the new number one. It's going to be the biggest in a relatively short period of time. The CEO and the organization that's being built is it's super powerful. And Chad and I are very lucky to be involved in it. He introduced it to me, and I'm grateful for him. And he, obviously, when he was introduced a few short months ago, he's very grateful for that as well. We would love to introduce you to it also. And it's just information. It's education. And we will then decide if it's for you or not. And then we can move forward if you choose that it is. So hopefully you found value in this. Share this with your family and friends. If you find value in the discussions that Chad and I are having, that's kind of the way that we will know, is if we're getting any feedback from folks. So if you are finding any value in this, leave us a comment, share it with your family, share it with your friends. I would appreciate you going to any podcast platforms that you're listening to this on and leave me a review. I'm trying to obviously spread this message of the RichMind Podcast as far and as wide as I possibly can. But until the next episode, Chad, man, this has been a lot of fun. I appreciate you being with us.
Man, love being here. And, I heard Jim Rohn say one time that rarely will a good idea interrupt you. Well, bam, we just interrupted everybody that's listening right now, Randy. So it's been a good day.
Go out there, everybody. Have a fantastic week. And until we're back again 7 days from now with another episode, we'll talk to you soon. Bye now. Thank you for joining me on the RichMind Podcast. I hope you found a ton of value in this episode. If so, I'd really appreciate a 5-star review, and you can also share it with your family and friends. And as my mentor Jim Rohn shared with me, in order to have more, you must first become more. And in order to become more, you must work harder on yourself than you do on your job. So go out there today and work harder on yourself to become more. and build the life of your dreams. Until next time, my friends.